But first, let's go to a caller and hear a real ghost story. Hi.
This is Katie from Colorado, and I'm calling in about an experience or kind of like a story that happened to me when I was in middle school. So just some background, I've always sort of been sensitive to this stuff, but more in the sense of when I walk into a house or a room, I can kind of tell if there's like a energy or a presence or vaguely around those lines. Anyway, I always thought everyone could do it until I started to slowly realize other people couldn't. So to the actual story part, this happened in middle school when I started becoming friends with a girl that I'm really good friends with now. And it was one of the first times that I went over to her house. Now, she has this beautiful house right on the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So it's a really great location. It's a pretty, I wouldn't say it's a big house, but it used to be a ranch home. And she actually lives on a farm, so there's not many neighbors nearby. So the house was built in 1916, so it's almost 100 years old. And her parents got it about 15 years ago, and they rebuilt it. Not rebuilt it, they refurbished it and made it nice, and so on and so forth. So when I first went to her house, I could tell that there was definitely ghosts or spirits or something just kind of checking me out and just seeing who I was and like what I was doing there. I know that sounds weird, but when I go there now, I don't feel them watching me as much. I think they're just wanting to see what I was doing at the house. So me and my friend, when we were in middle school, we used to watch the Paranormal State and all of these TV shows, and we thought, it would be fun if we do an EVP. Because she knew that her house was haunted, because when she was alone at the house, she would hear footsteps in her parents' bedroom. She thought that was super creepy. So we go to her house, and we do research on the property first to figure out if there was any mysterious deaths or so on and so forth for the house to be haunted. And apparently, one of the when they built the house, the person who built it had a son, and his name was Michael. And Michael mysteriously disappeared. They don't know if he died, or there was never a body found, but he just kind of disappeared off of the face of the planet, and his room was down in the basement. So we decided to do EVPs upstairs in her parents' bedroom, and then we go downstairs into the basement. Now, this is interesting because it was like, 4 or 5 in the afternoon. It wasn't at night because we were both pretty scared to do it at night. Anyway, so we go down in the basement. We start to get down there. There's a big staircase, and the staircase is big in the sense that it's pretty wide. And they had that like it because they used to store things down there in the cold winters when the house was first built. So pretty wide staircase. They had the original wood, so it's a little bit creaky when you go downstairs. So you get into the basement. It's not completely refurbished. And you walk towards the back of the basement, and that's where this kid, Michael, he wasn't a kid, he was a young adult when he went missing, used to live. So that was his room. And it's a really small room, and it's right underneath the staircase. And there's this big mirror that her parents, for some reason, decided to put right there. So you jump whenever you see yourself and you turn the corner. There's not a door. And I think you could fit a twin-size mattress in there. You can fit a desk. You can fit anything else. And the ceiling is kind of slanted because of the stairs. Anyway, maybe it's a little bit too descriptive on how his room was like. So when you go into that tiny space, you kind of feel like there's someone there. So we set up the camera. We put up our little phones and have them on voice record, and we start asking questions. Nothing really happens. We don't notice anything. And so we're like, okay. So I leave her house the next day, and she's like, okay, I'm going to review the footage tonight. I'll call you if anything happens. So she's at her house alone, or not alone, her parents are upstairs, but it's around 12 o'clock at night, and she's reviewing the footage. She has this big bowl of popcorn that she's eating, so I'm watching the footage. And then we're asking questions, and we both, I noticed this when I was rewatching it, but we both ask, why did you mysteriously disappear at the same time? And then she hears, she hears because she's watching the footage first. She hears silence, like it's clear as day. I can hear it, and it sounds like a man speaking, saying silence. And she flips out, popcorn goes everywhere, and she calls me 12 o'clock at night. I was luckily not asleep, and she's like, Katie, there is something. Oh my God, we got something. So a couple of days later, I go back to her house and I review the footage, and I'm like, what the heck happened? Because usually with the spirit stuff, I'm like, well, I feel this way, but there's no way to prove it, so I don't know. And an interesting thing about the video is I've showed it to almost every family member in my house, and they all think I'm crazy. But it's weird because my dad and somebody else, I don't remember, but they can't hear the voice, even though, like, I can hear it, my friend can hear it, or my sister can hear it, but some people don't actually hear the EVP. And it's really weird. So I'm wondering, you guys should watch it and see what happens. And I also was wondering about, wanting your guys' opinion about silence. Was that towards why he disappeared? Was it because he needed to be silenced? Or was he like, these teenage girls need to stop bothering me and get out of my house or get out of my room or whatever? Anyway, I would really like your thoughts, and I appreciate you airing this if you do. So I hope you guys have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That's interesting with the idea of some people not hearing it. Obviously, if we could, you put it into a wave form, you could see if there's anything there. But I mean, I could see it if it's, I'm guessing it's probably something where there's something there, but it's like some people are hearing a voice, some people are hearing white noise, more than anything else.
I think a lot of times with EVPs, you would say you, Todd, went out and got an EVP, and then you tell me, here it's silence. And then I'm listening for silence, and I hear silence. And because you see that a lot on the paranormal pages, different groups on Facebook, where they're sharing something, and they're like, did you hear it? And I'm like, I'm not hearing it. And other people in the comments are like, oh my God, I can't believe that. And I'm like, I don't hear it at all.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I think the suggestion of, did you hear silence? Mm-hmm. And maybe they did hear silence. They didn't hear anything.
Well, I mean,
maybe it works two ways.
That's how our brains work. I mean, by the suggestion of, that's why it's like, it's best if you're going to do it to just be like, I'm not going to tell you what to listen for. Just tell me what you hear.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Or even a lot of times people do that when they're investigating. You see something instead of saying, hey, did you see ABC? They'll say, okay, you write down what you just saw and I'll write down what I just saw, and then see if that matches.
I like that. What, when you're going back through hours of footage and stuff of investigations, I mean, yes, you can sit there and watch it all, but do you, or do you look more so for anomalies in like the waveform or something?
I think when it comes to audio, there's some settings, especially in Adobe Audition, that you can use that will kind of allow you to see where there might be something.
Okay.
I think if you're really doing a good job, you do listen to the whole thing, because I've had situations where, and I've got bad hearing because of being in radio. So I'll listen to something that's maybe an hour long and I will hear nothing. And then somebody else will say, oh, you didn't hear this at 1 minute in, or you didn't hear this at 45. And then you go back and listen. You're like, okay, now I do hear it. So I think, you really should listen to it all. But yeah, there's some cheats that you can try and take on that stuff.
But I do think you can listen and watch it if you're like listening to it in Adobe. And I do think that helps, because you usually see something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be, a little more evidence sometimes. I don't know. I mean, but sometimes I get it where it's like you can look at the wave and someone's like, oh, there is something, but it'd be really hard to see it sometimes.
It's the same way with pictures. People will be like, do you see what's in the window? And I'm like, it looks like maybe the window's a little dirty. Maybe the light's kind of reflecting strangely off the window. And other people are like, oh my God, it's a demon.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing that at all.
I'm horrible at the image. Do you see? No, I don't. And even like when they're like, see, it's right there. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm too skeptical, or maybe I'm just too realistic on what the other possibilities could be. I mean, I've certainly seen some where I'm like, yeah, there's definitely something there. Yeah. But when it's, I mean, there's, I get it. If you get something and you're like, you really want it to be something, but sometimes it's just not. And it's good to have an outside opinion. and someone who's not just like going to try and like just tamper you down, like, but more like honest of just like, if it's there, it's there. I'll tell you. But sometimes I'd say more than not when I see them, it's like, I don't know. I don't know.
We talked a little bit about this the other day, actually on the true crime side, about your brain trying to get from point A to point B. And so it sometimes fills that in.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in paranormal, same thing. We call it matrixing when you look at something and you see something within that. You know, it's kind of, I know we've talked about before, like tiling in a bathroom or wood grain. Sometimes you'll see something in the wood grain and it's always there. Yeah. That's kind of what I kind of attribute it to as well. You're probably saying reflection of a tree or you know, maybe even the sun in the sky, and it's creating something that's not quite there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's why. Here's an example. So we were talking, you know, about tiles a while back, you know, floor tile.
Yeah.
And I've said that, you know, if I've been smoking something, sometimes, you know, and I only do what's legal. You'll look at things and I'm late to the game. I know most of you figured this out in high school, you know, on linoleum, but I'm discovering it in my 40s for the first time. So, but like, you know, the floor tiles, the different patterns, things will stand out differently to you sometimes when you have that. I think and I think each person, you know, depending on what their brain chemistry is, we all see things a little bit differently. That's like when you look at art or something like that, people appreciate things differently and see things differently. And this may really stand out to somebody, or this may be like the most obtrusive, like, to somebody too. Mm-hmm. It's all how we process it and the state that our brain is in at the time of that processing. That's my look.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.